Today we are doing sourdough cinnamon rolls based on the Sullivan Street Bakery Cookbook by Jim Leahy, based on his methodology. This is very similar to the sandwich loaf that we've done already, and this recipe much more closely follows the Sullivan Street Bakery Cookbook's recipe. But this is also a recipe that allows for a lot of variation. You can do a lot of different things, subbing things out and kind of getting a different flavor, different feel. The cinnamon rolls do start out as a basic sweet brioche dough. And so what makes it sweet is, for me, it's gonna be the brown sugar, and then I'm also gonna add in vanilla. If you like to, you could sub lemon extract, you could sub almond extract. You can have fun with some of your flavors there. But basically, we are starting again with 100 grams of room temperature plain water, not 125 like you would use with the sandwich loaf, because we are going to use more butter, and so the liquid is going to be offset there a little bit. So to that 100 grams of room temperature water, I'm going to add 125 grams of our starter. It's nice and thick. And then to that, we will also add our 2 eggs, our butter that is gently melting here. This is a full 8 tablespoons of butter, a full stick of butter, or a half cup of butter. And then we will add a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of vanilla, and our 270 grams of all-purpose flour. Now, 2 things that are especially different other than the vanilla, we're also adding some brown sugar. You'll see that the brown sugar I'm using is not a full packed brown sugar. Well, I prefer anywhere between 1/4 and 1/2 cup. I don't want it crazy sweet, but you might like it a little bit sweeter. So I'm doing like this is the most improper way to measure brown sugar. I'll call this a scant half cup, or maybe even a 1/3 cup, however you want to do. You figure out what level of sweetness you like. But this is gonna go into the dough. And then just for fun, because this is one of the variations that I like, I have an orange, and I'm gonna zest the orange into the dough as well. There's my 2 large eggs. Okay, we've got the butter, the vanilla, and then the brown sugar. Last, I'm going to add in about 275 grams of plain all-purpose flour. I'll do my teaspoon of salt, and I will then do my orange zest. There is my zested orange. I'm gonna hang on to that for the icing for tomorrow. Here is my flour and salt and zest dumped in here. Some other substitutions. If you don't want to do brown sugar, you could do coconut sugar. I've tried it with that. It's been fine. You could add in a quantity of honey if you'd like, but do be aware that honey has the potential to retard your yeast. Honey is like an antimicrobial, antibacterial. And so I haven't done a lot of honey, so I would maybe caution, unless you're really experimenting, you know, and it's not like a high pressure, like you're making these for a holiday for the first time, maybe don't go full honey the first time. But anyway, I'm gonna have this mixing together, and after it starts to combine and the flour is no longer gonna kick out, I'm gonna kick it into high gear as we did with our sandwich dough. All right, so it does take a bit longer than the sandwich bread. And I did finally kick my mixer up to the highest setting. Normally I keep it on about 8. So you're just gonna have to hang in there, trust the process, make sure if you have all your ingredients, it will eventually come together and start clearing the sides of the bowl. You'll get this beautiful long stretch. Isn't that wonderful? This dough is super stretchy, super sloppy. And there is no way that you could knead this by hand, and doing it with the paddle attachment I think is a lot more effective than the dough hook. Again, Mr. Leahy does recommend the paddle attachment. So what I'm gonna do now is scrape this down, kind of compile it into a blob in the center, and I'm gonna cover it with a wet cloth. And I'm gonna let this rise a little bit, maybe longer than the sandwich dough, just because it is so wet. It has a bit more to overcome in order to rise. And I will try to keep the kitchen a little extra warm. If you want to, you could put this in the proving drawer if you have one, or put it in like a cold oven with just the light on. A lot of times the light will be enough to provide just a little extra ambient warmth. Or if your oven has like a proving setting, maybe around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, that could work. Leave that on for a couple hours and then turn it back off. You don't want this to go crazy, but if you do need to give it a little extra boost to make them super fluffy, you can. Then again, this is a very forgiving recipe, so even if it doesn't rise a whole lot, it'll still be a really delicious and fairly fluffy bread in my experience. But y'all let me know in the comments if you try it. Time check. Here is the dough. So far it has risen some. You see some bubbles around the edges, but it's not as significant a rise as the other doughs perhaps. But I am going to put this in the fridge because it is super sticky. I'm actually gonna be out and about for a minute, and when I get back, it'll be several hours later and it'll be nice and chilled down. You could leave this in the fridge overnight if you want to, but I'm gonna go ahead and chill it tonight, and then I'll roll it out, cut it into cinnamon rolls and shape it, and then it's going to prove overnight so I can bake them off in the morning. So I will see you when I'm ready to shape this dough. It is time to roll out our dough. Now, truth be told, I left the dough in the fridge overnight. I got home really late from whatever I was doing, and that's one of the beautiful things about this. It is forgiving within maybe a 24-hour period. So the fact that it was in the fridge just means it's gonna be a lot easier to work with. But to make the cinnamon rolls themselves, I have some AP flour for sprinkling my board. I have a bench scraper, dough scraper. You could just use a knife if you want to. That's gonna be for portioning the cinnamon rolls. I have a 9 by 13 inch pan. I think it's like 2 inches deep, lined with parchment paper. And then my filling for my cinnamon rolls tends to be half a cup of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and half a teaspoon of ginger. Now you can sub out pumpkin spice, you can sub out cardamom, you can put whatever spice mixture you like. You can have less sugar if you want. You could do coconut sugar if you want. Or I've also done it with like soaked dried fruit, where I might have like raisins and dates and maybe even some mixed peel, like some citrus peel that I've soaked either in hot water or even in a little bit of maybe lemon juice or orange juice, or even like a vanilla extract, or even maybe a rum if you want something a little bit more adult. But soak that fruit and then wring it out and use that, kind of sprinkle it through. You could do nuts, you could do chocolate. I wouldn't recommend doing berries just because they can be very wet and it can get extremely sloppy. But if you have cooked down some berries to like a very dry consistency, I also wouldn't recommend doing any kind of cheese or meat like a bacon or a ham, just because it's gonna have to sit at room temperature for another 8 hours or so. And so I personally, I'm not gonna take the risk. Maybe you do, maybe that's okay for you. Maybe you have a better understanding of the microbial world than I do. But yeah, you can do all kinds of different things. I think I've even done like shredded carrots and done kind of like a carrot cake idea. But lots of options here to customize your cinnamon rolls. Let me show you how I actually roll them out, cut them out, and set them out to prove for their second rise. All right, so my board is dusted with flour and I am peeling my dough out now. All right, so my board is dusted with flour. My dough is very cold, but still quite sticky. And I'm just gonna use my fingers to press it down. Now, if you want to, you could sprinkle flour on top, and you could use a rolling pin for this. I'm not gonna bother. These are fluffy, they're rustic. I'm not going for anything particularly fancy. For me, the dough does the work. The flavor is where it's at. So I'm gonna press this down, try to get to about 1/4 inch thick or less. You can see it's sticking to my board, so I'm gonna flip it over a little bit and try to just keep it moving so it'll be easier to roll. I am gonna aim for a vaguely rectangular sheet of dough. That will make it easier to roll up. So press, 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 press. At this point, once you start rolling it, you could cut it into 12, you could cut it into 8, you could cut it into 6 giant cinnamon rolls. It's really up to you. And yeah, now I have this vaguely at a rectangular shape. Not perfect, that's okay. But I'm just gonna take my mixture of cinnamon and spices and sprinkle it over. I have not tried this with like Swerve or other non-sugar alternatives, but if you do, please let me know, because again, this is one of those really fun doughs that you can do a lot of different things with, but I just haven't had the need in my family to try other substitutions for sugars and things like that. But I know that sourdough can be a wonderful thing for folks with dietary restrictions. So if you have comments or have thoughts, I would love to hear them in the comments below. So I'm just evening this out as best I can, making sure to try to go over to the edges, because no one wants that cinnamon roll that doesn't have as much filling in it that got on the end. So now I'm going to use my scraper to help me if I need to help loosen the top here as I go, but I'm just going to roll from the top and start coming down and kind of pull and tuck as I go. It's a very straightforward kind of thing. Maybe brush off some of the flour, the excess flour as I go. And just roll. All right, so here is the cinnamon roll snake, and I'm just gonna kind of vaguely score it. I'm gonna do 12, so 3 scores into 4 sections, and then I'm just gonna cut about 2-inch sections. Okay, so 1. And I realize that these are kind of gonna get larger as I go, so the middle tends to be a little bit fatter than the edges. So if I am not precise, that's okay too. All right, so here they are in the pan. I might kind of neaten them up a little bit, try to tuck things in, but now I'm going to re-moisten my towel, and I'm going to cover these up and let these rise for another 8 hours or so. So right now it's about 6:30 in the morning, and I will catch you guys when they're fully proofed. All right, it is now 5 in the evening. This is what my cinnamon rolls look like. I have an option now to either throw them in the fridge and let them cool down and stay there overnight, bake them in the morning, or I could bake them this evening. All right, oven is at 400 degrees. Cinnamon rolls have been there for 10 minutes. I'm just gonna rotate them 180 degrees, just like so. You can see how lovely they look. Yep, and I'm gonna set the timer for another 8 minutes. In here, I have some cream cheese. I have about 6 ounces of cream cheese and about 2 tablespoons of honey. They're warming up together. Normally for this recipe, for these cinnamon rolls, I would do like 100 grams of powdered sugar, and then I would add maybe like a teaspoon at a time of water until I got the consistency that I wanted, and it just turns into a glaze. As I'm recording, I don't have any powdered sugar, so I'm going with cream cheese and honey. And to this, I'm gonna add in some orange juice from the zested orange that I got earlier, or that I used earlier for the dough itself. So very flexible. You can use whatever icing or frosting you like, but I'm just gonna keep it a little bit less sweet, I guess, and not using as much sugar this time. But yeah, y'all do you. And I will see you in about 7 minutes when these come out of the oven. All right, I'm letting those go for 2 more minutes just because I want to make sure that they are very golden brown. They were looking a tiny bit pale, and so I do want to make sure that they're cooked all the way through. And again, since they had some of that liquid that had been given off in the bottom of the tray, I want to make sure that that gets nice and caramelized and gooey, and it doesn't affect the final thing. There's my icing all mixed up. Again, this is a place where you can be really flexible. I might even add on, some nuts on top, maybe some slivered almonds, some sliced almonds. I could toast those separately, like in a skillet or something, or have those pre-toasted and ready to sprinkle on top. Maybe I'll do that. All right, so these have been in there that initial 8 minutes, and then I went ahead and gave them 2 more just to make sure that they were good and properly golden brown. Wow, y'all. Okay, you see how much those have puffed up. You see how wonderful they look. Oh, these are amazing. Okay, So you see also that you have some kind of like caramel goo in the bottom. That's gonna be wonderful. Turn off my oven. Yes, so these are a great color. They're not over baked. They are not under. They do have enough of that golden color on them. So I'm going to frost these with my cream cheese icing, and yeah, we will enjoy these. Y'all, I decided to go the extra step and put some sliced almonds on top. Now, I didn't go the extra step of toasting those ahead of time, but yeah, I thought it would be good to have a little bit of extra crunch in there.